Adventurers, and welcome back to another Parry This history video. Today, of course, I guess I shouldn't have said that. We're not talking about history, are we? We're reviewing a product. And it is historically inspired, but it is not historically accurate. And it is the SAS Pioneer Traditional Longbow. This is essentially the best value mass-produced longbow that you can purchase online at a moment's notice. And that is why I bought it, and I've been firing it enough to get a feel for it before I decided to do this review. So this bow is $190 on Amazon at the time of making this video, and I will have links in the description for you if you would like to take a look at it, maybe even buy it. And it has been an excellent bow so far. And so essentially what this came down to is I have a recurve bow, and I've been shooting recurve for quite some time now. And I really enjoy that, but I wanted to get into longbow. And the first place I looked was Cult of Athena, sites like that, to start checking out traditional longbows, you know, historically accurate ones. And there were a lot of great ones that I found. They looked awesome, had great reviews, and they were perfect. Only problem is most of them were obscenely expensive or had a lead time of 6 months to a year to get one. So although I will probably get one at some point, it was not feasible for the time being, as I wanted a longbow to start shooting with now. And so that is how I landed on this one. And like I said, just based on the reviews and the reputation that it had, it seemed like the right one to go with, and it has been. It's been an excellent bow. So just some specs on this one. It comes in either left or right hand dominant. It comes in various draw weights, actually a very decent range for a starter type longbow like this, going from 29 pounds at the lowest, which is very light, all the way up to 65 pounds, which is of course a decent draw weight for a traditional longbow. You have to keep in mind when you hear about much heavier weights than that, either A, you're firing a war bow, and there's an entirely different style of shooting those, as it is a full body draw and release. You never hold them because of the ridiculous amount of weight that you're pulling back, or more modern compound bows where they have a weight let off that allows you to hold it back without having that full weight on your shoulder, or I should say your shoulder and back if you're drawing correctly. So this one is a 50-pound one, as I figured that was pretty much perfect for what I'm looking for. I sometimes will shoot heavier than that. My recurve bow has a set of limbs for 65 pounds, but most of the time I'm target shooting, I'm not shooting anything that heavy. Keep in mind, in that same regard, you will need arrows. And if you're using a traditional longbow, there are only two ways to go for arrows, and they will be either wooden arrows or bamboo arrows. And now I have bamboo arrows, and I bought these for two reasons. One of which being I wanted the traditional feather fletchings because I just obviously wanted them for immersion and realism's sake, and I've been using these specific arrows for quite some time with my recurve bow, and so I just got another set of them with my longbow. And I will also have these linked in the description if they are still available. Sometimes they go in and out because supply is limited. These are bamboo, and the reason I went with bamboo arrows with fixed field points is because A, I'm just using these bows for target shooting the vast majority of the time, and so you wouldn't want to use broadheads or anything like that you're going to damage or dull, and so field points are the way to go. And bamboo arrows are significantly cheaper and lighter for the same strength that you can get for wood arrows, but bamboo arrows are not as susceptible to warping as wooden arrows are. So although wooden arrows would be more accurate, bamboo arrows are definitely the more economical and sensible option in my opinion. Some other specs on this bow, however, though, it has a total length when unstrung of 68 inches, so it's just a couple inches shy of your 72-inch English longbow, but still quite long and one of the longer options on the market. And now this is important because the longer a longbow is, the smoother your draw typically is, at least if the bow is high quality. Like I said, this is not a traditional European longbow as it is laminated. So the riser of this bow, or the central part where the limbs connect, is made of macore wood and cassia samia, so quite strong and of course famous for laminate type bows like this. And the limbs are made of strong maple, laminated with fiberglass reinforcement between 3 layers. So this type of construction isn't traditional like a single piece of yew or even hickory would be, but it is significantly stronger and more durable for what you end up getting. And it allows you to have much thinner limbs while still having a tremendous draw weight and of course arrow flight speed. The string length on this is of course several inches shorter than the overall length, being 64 inches total. This one is a right-hand variant, which means you hold it in your left hand. So if you hold in your left hand and draw with your right hand, you buy a right-handed variant. So despite the fact that it goes in your left hand, it's a right-handed variant. I know that confuses people. Only other thing to keep of note on this, we do have a horsehair pad on the arrow rest, and we do have a leather-wrapped and tied grip for our hand. So overall, the appearance of this bow I quite like. The only thing I would change is I hate when bows put a great big white logo right on the front of them. I know it's because they want you to be able to tell, you know, they want their product to be recognized. But what it does for the traditional archery shooter is really throw off any immersion you have that it's even somewhat historically accurate or authentic. But overall, this bow has been an excellent product for the price that it is. Considering it's less than $200, it's been very good. It has an extremely smooth pull. I've measured the draw weight and it is right on the nose. It is 50 pounds at 28 inches, so I have a longer draw length than that, being significantly taller than the average bear. It's not true, but I'm just used to saying that. I draw at 30 to 32 inches, depending on what style of bow I'm shooting, and so it does stack heavier as you go up above 28 inches. But at 28 inches, this one is right at 50. So I would assume that the other draw weights will also be accurate. Like I said, the long length and excellent construction does lead to a very smooth draw, and something that these bows are somewhat famous for, which is what led me to them over some other budget options for a longbow, is the fact that it has very little hand shake. So a lot of times when you're shooting longbows like this, you're going to get a lot of that vibration going right into your wrist every single time. This one doesn't have nearly as much of that as many that I have shot in the past. So overall, I definitely really like it. We'll have to see how I like it in 6 months, a year, 2 years, as I keep shooting it, see if it wears down or anything and I start to like it less. But at the moment, I definitely think it's well worth the value. So that is my review for the SAS Pioneer Traditional Longbow. Now, for the real reason for today's video, I'm here to challenge Lord Hans Capon, otherwise known as Luke Dale to some of the more degenerate peasants out there, to an archery tournament. Let's see if your hand is still as heavy as you used to excuse your poor performance against Henry of Skalitz so long ago in Rete. So, standard, intermediate, Kingdom Come Deliverance tournament rules. 13 arrows. A 3-ring target, of course. I have a 4-ring, but we'll pretend it's 3. At 20 paces. 3 points for any bullseyes. 2 points for any in the second ring. 1 point for any on the outer ring. 0 points for any that miss. And the first person to finish all 13 shots gets an additional 3 points, unless I'm remembering those rules wrong. And Luke Dale, or Hans Capon, whichever suits you. I expect a pretty good performance from you, because if I'm not deceived by your accent, you're from the British Isles. And if I'm also not wrong about my history, you're legally supposed to be practicing the longbow regularly, so that you can be in a state of readiness for the defense of your nation. And so I'd be shocked and appalled if you couldn't beat a lowly American in your own game. So, without any further ado in stalling, let's get to it and start off this friendly tournament. So we've recovered our 2 arrows that I missed the target with, so that wasn't a good start to this tournament. And the rest of them, I am not overly proud of this. So, you know what, Luke? You might be able to do it. I believe in you. As far as our score goes, you can see we've got 2 bullseyes, so those are 3 points each. That's 6 points. I would, since this is actually a 4-ring and the one from the game is a 3-ring, I would say that the second ring goes until the first 2 loops of this. So we have 2 well within that, so those ones are each 2 points, so that's 8 points so far. And all the rest of the hits I have would be considered the outer ring. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 15 points total, and my extra 3 or 4 points, depending on what it is, if I did it faster than you. And I assume that while I'm editing this video, I'll have put a timer up on the screen for my shots. I'm real disappointed that these 2 that I shot that missed weren't bullseyes, because it would have made it much easier for me to win this tournament. I'm not overly proud of my performance in this tournament, but I had to be fair and only do it once. And so, if you want to see Luke Dale get pressured into shooting some archery, why don't you tweet this at him, comment on his channel, do whatever you gotta do to make sure that he watches this video, and hopefully has the bollocks to go out and dust off his, I'm sure, very old English longbow and take up my challenge. But in any case, that is all for today. Thank you a ton for watching this video. I have a lot of fun doing stuff like this, especially archery. And you may tell, maybe I'm not the best archer, but it's fun. But that's all for today. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you next time.